This is a Benny the T-Rex story. We haven't had a story in a while because I've been traveling, but we're going to have a story tonight. So, Benny loved adventures. He loved kangaroo rats. He loved exploring. He loved going to the desert. He loved going to the ocean. But Benny was a T-Rex. And the other T-Rexes, they like to eat. They like to catch things and eat them. T-Rexes are kind of mean because they catch things and eat them. They eat dinosaurs. They eat all kinds of stuff. But one day, a T-Rex came home and said, "I have just seen what I think is the most delicious thing in the world." And Benny said, "What is it?" And the dinosaur said, "Well, I'm not sure. I only saw it a little bit, but it's kind of small. It has big ears and it hops. Hop, 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 hop. But I think it would be delicious. I think it would just be like, because T-Rexes are pretty big. They have big mouths. I think it would be like one mouthful." And Benny thought, it sounds kind of cute. I don't think I want them eating them. So Benny said, "Well, where is it? I want to go eat one." Of course, he didn't want to go eat one, but he wanted to see where it was. He said, "Where is it?" And the other T-Rex said, "Well, it's up over there, over the mountain, over the hill." So Benny ran to where his friend had said he'd seen this creature, and he got there. It was a sort of a grassy area with grass and trees, and Benny snuck up, and he was very quiet because Benny, in all of his adventures, had learned to be quiet, because if you want to see things, you got to be quiet. So he snuck through the grass, tuck, tuck, tuck. And it's very hard for a T-Rex to sneak because T-Rexes are very big. They have big feet and they go thump, 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 thump. But Benny was very careful and he went very slowly. And then he stayed in the grass and he tried to look like a green rock. He stayed very still. He just went, didn't move. He waited, didn't move. And after a while, it's like, oh, my foot hurts. But no, he didn't move because he wanted to see. And sure enough, a little while later, this creature came hopping along. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And it had big floppy ears and a fluffy tail. And of course, you know what it is. I know what it is. What do you think it is? That's right. It's a rabbit. But Benny didn't know it was a rabbit because he didn't know anything about rabbits. But he thought, that thing is so cute. And would you want a T-Rex to eat a rabbit? Well, Benny didn't. Benny's like, no way. I'm not going to let my friends eat this cute creature. And he didn't know it was a rabbit. So he decided, it hops, so I'm going to call it a hoppit. I don't want my friends to eat this hoppit. So Benny thought, well, I'm going to have to persuade the hoppit to come live with me so it's safe. So Benny stuck his head up and said, "Hello." And the hoppit went, "What? It's a T-Rex, no!" And it started to run away. But Benny said, no, I'm not going to eat you. I promise I won't eat you. And the hoppit said, okay. And finally, the hoppit hopped up to Benny. He didn't want to get too close, so he was still far away. And he said, "Okay, what is it?" And Benny said, "Well, I'm a T-Rex. Don't worry, I'm not going to eat you. But I know a lot of T-Rexes who want to eat you, and they're going to come and eat you. But I want to save you so you don't get eaten." And the hoppit said, "How are you going to do that?" And Benny said, "Well, living with me, I have kangaroo rats, I have rainbow fish, I have pterodactyls, I have hermit crabs, I have all kinds of things. And you could come live with me, and I would give you lots of grass, and I promise you would not get eaten." And so the hoppit said, "Okay, well, I need to go talk to my friends." So Hoppit hopped off, and the hoppits lived in holes. So the hoppit went into the hole, hop, 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 and Benny heard the hoppits talking. After a while, the hoppit came back out and he said, "Well, we'd like to come with you, but there are a lot of us. There are at least 100 hoppits." And Benny said, "That's not a problem. I promise I will take care of all of you, and I will make a place for you to stay." So Benny said, "Okay, you wait here. I'm gonna go back because I need to prepare a place where you can stay because you're gonna need to eat and all that stuff." So Benny said, "Okay, I'll be right back." And Benny ran back to his house, and he got the kangaroo rats. He didn't have Kanga because Kanga was on the moon, but there were a lot of kangaroo rats. And he said to the kangaroo rats, he explained the situation and said to the kangaroo rats, okay, we need to take care of the hoppits. And the kangaroo rats, of course, weren't scared of the hoppits because the hoppits just eat grass. They don't eat kangaroo rats. So they with the help of the kangaroo rats, Benny made a big field, and he put lots of grass there, and he made a big house. Actually, what he did is because the hoppits like to live holes in the ground. He dug a hole in the ground, and he dug a kind of tunnel so they could live in the tunnel. And then he said, okay, then he went into his laboratory, and there was a lot of bang, bang, spang, spang, ow! Because, of course, when Benny goes into his laboratory, he hits himself on the foot. Ow! Hit himself on the hand. Ow! On the head. Ooh, because the head really hurts. But what he did is he made a great big box. And he got some string rope, and he tied the box on his head. And I got to admit, he looked pretty silly, because you imagine a T-Rex with a big box on his head. But you'll see why he made a big box in a minute. And then he went out, and all his friends said, Benny, you have a box on your head. Why do you have a box on your head? And Benny said, well, I've got a plan. And his friend said, okay, because they knew Benny always had a plan. So Benny ran off with the box on his head, and he went over the hill, and he got to where the hoppits were, and Benny said, okay, you all jump in the box. Because, of course, the box was a way of carrying the hoppits back to his house, because he didn't want to have the hoppits hopping along, because if they were hopping, the T-Rexes would eat them. But if they were in the box, they'd be safe. So they all got into the box, and there were 100 hoppits in the box on his head. And then Benny went back to his house, through the forest, back to his house, and then he set the box down, and all the hoppits jumped out. And the hoppits then lived in the grass. There's lots of grass. Benny had to go collect grass, but he didn't mind collecting grass. And the hoppits lived there happily ever after. And the other T-Rexes didn't eat them, because the other T-Rexes didn't eat creatures who were at Benny's house. And the hoppits were very happy. They became very good friends with the kangaroo rats, and they would have the kangaroo rats thought, because kangaroo rats like to jump too, like kangaroos. And so they would have jumping contests where the hoppit and the kangaroo rat would see who could jump the furthest. Actually, it turned out kangaroo rats can actually jump further. Hoppits can jump a little way, but they don't jump that far. But the kangaroo rats can jump a long way. And then they came up with this great idea where, to see if they could jump really far, a kangaroo rat would get on a hoppit's head, and the hoppit would hop at the same time the kangaroo rat jumped. And this would send him really far, because the kangaroo rat the hoppit would go up, then the kangaroo rat would jump, and it could go like 50 feet, boing, through the air. Whew. And they had hopping contests. So that is the story of Benny and the hoppits. Benny and the rabbits. All right. I love you. Bye-bye.